Hi guys, it's Ben Ridley here. Today we've got Ben Tallent from the First Stroke Swim School. Ben's here to tell us a little bit more about when kids should learn to swim, what age you should be looking to book them in. I've got my son who's 3.5 years old, Jude, who's currently in your swim classes, Ben, and absolutely loves it. And we've got Tommy, my second boy, who's going to be starting next year. So Ben, welcome.
Thank you.
So give us a little bit of a background on yourself, Ben. You've obviously been a swim instructor for quite a long time.
Yes, been a swim instructor now for about 15 years, and before that,
15 years.
started very young. I'll put it that way.
I was going to say,
yes.
yeah, that's right.
And was a competitive swimmer before that. So I grew up in Ballarat, and was a competitive swimmer. Family's always been involved in sport, and sports.
Very famous family, mind you, Ben. So for those of you that are unaware, Ben's brother is Jared Tallent, the Olympic gold medalist, who for long distance walking, and I believe your sister was in the Olympics this year as well.
Yeah, she had her first Olympics, so there's a bit of an age gap between Jared being the youngest of us four boys down to my two sisters that I've got. So there's about 10 years between me and her.
So you would have been pretty close in getting to the Olympics at one stage, no doubt.
Not really.
Oh, no, at least
didn't have the build for a swimmer, unfortunately. They're too short. So maybe I should have stuck to a longer distance sport like him rather than swimming. But look, it's paid off obviously with the swim school, and now obviously we're teaching kids here in the Mildura area.
Very good. Well, I can speak obviously from our personal experience, and over the last few years that Jude's been in your swimming classes, it's been incredible just to see how much confidence he's got in the water, but also just to see how much he's improved in that time. So I suppose the first question that we have for a lot of parents would be, at what age should they be looking to enrol their kids into swimming, or at least start putting them in water?
Yep, yeah. So we start our swimming lessons from 6 months of age. Obviously you can have them in the water even from weeks old, just in the water themselves, obviously try not to get too much water over their face and so forth from that young age. But yeah, from 6 months of age is where we start actually teaching the children to be able to hold their breath and do submersions, and then obviously just getting used to being in a body of water. It's sometimes it's a strange thing for little ones to be in such a big body of water and feel what it's like to be able to move around in that water themselves too. And that's the big thing. We're trying to make sure that the child doesn't develop a fear for the water, because that's the worst thing you can do is have your child when they get to 4 and 5 years of age with a real fear for the water and no sense of being able to move through a body of water as well too. So,
and that'd be, I suppose, in that first probably 12 to 18 months, it'd be just giving them the confidence of being able to be in the water, having obviously a bit of nous and a bit of knowledge about when they're in the water, and I suppose just having that confidence would be the main thing rather than any technical skill at this stage.
And that is the thing, it's having a confidence and also having an awareness of the water. Like yourself, I've got a little 2.5-year-old at the moment, and he understands that he can't get in the water without one of us there. So he respects the water, but he enjoys the water when he's in there with us. He'll swim around with his backpack on and have an absolute ball, jump off the edge, put his head under the water, he can hold his breath and kick his legs and use his arms, all that kind of stuff. But he also respects it at that age, knowing that if we're not there to help him, or if he gets in without the little aids that we use with him, then he knows he's going to be in trouble.
Well, I think Will's going to be a little bit of a swimmer by the looks of it. He's got some very good instructors there in the family, obviously full-time coaches, which is always handy. But I suppose the other thing too, I've read up a little bit on the past with regards to child, I'm not too sure what they call it with drowning. I think it's dry drowning.
Yep.
So at such a young age, is it a concern for parents to be having that they're getting in and learning these things such as holding their breath? Is there a concern there, or is that just a bit of a myth?
No, look, there is a concern with dry drowning, but that's why we start them from 6 months of age, because it's really, doctors will go through this side of things as to how the airway closes off and so forth, and the dry drowning occurs when that airway doesn't quite close properly, and allows water to actually go down into their lungs and then obviously sit in their lungs. So that's where we get the circumstance of a dry drowning. So obviously with our little ones being able to hold their breath, it doesn't matter then when they're actually going under, because that airway is going to be closed off as well too. So it is an issue, but really from 6 months onwards, even if they did get going down the wrong hole, they've got that kind of gag reflux to bring it back up anyway. So
not much of a concern there. They're obviously learning a lot of those skills very early.
Yes, yeah. Oh, look, and we, as you would have seen, we start with the cups anyway, so it's not just a matter of dunking them under the water. We're progressing them up to obviously being able to then hold their breath and go under the water. So there's cues and there's teaching strategies that we go through before all that as well too.
With older kids, Ben, so you've got kids that may not have had the opportunity to start as young as my boys have, or young Will. If you're getting older kids that are starting, they might be 5 or 6 years of age, and they do have that fear of water, how do you compensate for that? Is there ways that you guys can make it a bit easier?
Look, it's obviously how we structure our levels then, and obviously the classes that the children are in. So we have children that come in that are 6 and 7 that might have had a fear because they've fallen in the water, or have a fear because they just haven't been in a big body of water like that. So obviously we start them back from the beginning and just try to develop that confidence in the water, and obviously their ability to then just get used to moving around in a body of water, because that's really the big fear for a lot of kids who've never been in such a large body of water before, and they don't know what it's like for them with their balance and their ability to move around in that water.
Yeah, and that is, it's obviously, the younger you probably can get them in, I think obviously that confidence is going to be a lot higher at that age. But is there an age that, is it too late, or is there, for young kids, obviously there's a lot of school sports and swimming and whatnot, so what age would you be recommending would sort of be that cut-off point for a young child to be getting in the pool?
There's no age is too late, obviously. Just getting them in and getting them into some form of swimming lessons, but ideally you'd like your child to do some form of swimming lessons before they start primary school, because obviously a lot of primary schools now have their own swimming program that they'll run for a week intensive, or maybe a week, 2 week intensive, normally around grade 1, grade 2, so they'll start from that. So if you've had your child in swimming lessons beforehand, when they go off into that week intensive, they've already got an idea as to what they're doing.
Is there anything that parents can do, obviously, before they enrol in swimming lessons? Is there anything they can do that might be able to help them take that step forward, or is it just one of those things that just get them in, get them started, and there's probably not much that can be?
Not a lot, but even just taking them to a pool, putting them in a pool. If their friend's got a pool, or they go to the local swimming centre where they're at, they can just hop in the pool with them and get the child, even the start of just walking around in a body of water if they can, at the shallow end or in the toddler's pool or so forth, just to get used to what it feels like having the water pushing against them, and then them obviously pushing against the water as well too. That always helps, just to allow the child to feel what it's like to even lay back or lean forwards in the water and so forth, and just get that balance in the water.
Oh, very good. What are the most common questions you get asked by would-be parents, first-time parents that are going to be putting their children into swimming? What do you come across the most?
When are they going to be able to swim?
When are they going to swim?
Look, and unfortunately it depends on the child. As we've seen, even with children in sports, some children pick it up really easy and they progress really quickly through. Other children, take a while to develop. They have their growth stages as well too, and that runs in line with how they, just their normal growth as well too. As we know, they might sit at a certain height for a while, and all of a sudden they've got a growth spurt. And with the same in swimming lessons.
I never had that personally, but I have heard about that.
I'm the same, mate, so we don't have to worry about that. It just depends on the child, and also too how much you're doing with them outside of that swimming lesson. Your standard swimming lesson's 1.5 hour lesson a week, so if you can progress that by getting them in the pool a couple of times, if you've got a pool at home, or take them down to the local centre to do a few more lessons, even not say lessons, but just take them down themselves to practice some of the skills that we're doing, they're definitely going to progress a lot faster.
Well, I can speak on behalf of myself and my wife Deanna, but Jude, in that period of 3 years, it's just incredible to see the amount of improvement that they make every single term. But I think at this age, they're now at the end of, would it be their second full year. Mm-hmm. I think the last term is probably where we found the most confidence out of the kids. Obviously, we're out of the pool now as parents, but I think that's where we found probably the most growth in the kids. In their swimming, they certainly are a lot more confident, but
unfortunately sometimes the parents are the ones that hold the child back.
Well, I think I could have been one of them.
As you'll know that, but it's the same, with your son in with our instructor compared to him in with you. If he doesn't want to do something with you, he'll try and twist Dad's arm and say, "No, Dad, I don't want to do this type of thing." But once they're in with the instructor, they are more willing to do things, and obviously as an instructor as well too, we know how far we can push the child as well too. So compared to a parent that might still be a bit hesitant in letting go or letting them swim that little extra distance, as an instructor, we know where we can kind of challenge the children, and that's where that progression does seem to grow a little bit. Plus, too, also, like your little fella now, they're bigger, their arms are longer, the legs are longer, so they can use their body better through the water and progress themselves through the water a lot better as well too.
A bit more confident. So with regards to the qualifications that you need as a swim instructor, obviously it's just giving peace of mind to us. I know you personally, so your qualifications I'm aware of, but for the people that are watching this, what are the qualifications that you need to be a swim instructor for especially young children?
So all our instructors are Swim Australia qualified, so there are 2 qualifications now, national qualifications that you can use, which is Ausswim, which has been around for years now, and a newer one which is Swim Australia, which was more directed from the Australian Swim Coaches and Teachers Association. Obviously through my swimming and coaching myself, that's the one that I've lent towards, as I just feel what they offer in their courses is a little bit better to the instructors coming into the system. And then myself, I've now actually got myself qualified that I can actually take those courses as well too. Okay. So it helps obviously with me to be able to run the course the way I see, for my instructors, especially for our area here, because I know that sometimes we've had instructors come up from Melbourne and they will love to talk about the beach and all things like that, but obviously in our area it's not something that we're very close to, and a lot of our children go down towards. It's still obviously something important, but in our area it's really talking about obviously the river and the dangers of the river, and obviously what the instructors, little bits of information on that we can pass on, that they can obviously then pass on to the kids from there, those associated risks with our area. Yeah,
well that's right. Well, we can safely say that all your swim instructors are very qualified and do a fantastic job. So thank you very much for taking the time today to explain the process of getting children enrolled in swimming. So thank you again.
No worries. Thank you.
Cheers.